What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and a little bit of a disclaimer before I start this review. You're going to notice all of these Chelsea reviews getting just kind of posted back to back to back to back. Basically, what's been going on, because I am still living with my family, I'm not able to upload as frequently as I would like because they use the internet as well, and so some of them use the internet to work, and so unfortunately, I kind of have to pick and choose when to upload, and most of the time that happens at night. And so most of the time I upload it at night, and then I have to go to work the next morning, so I don't have time to like sit down, go through, put the description of the video, tag stuff in the video. I don't have time to do that, unfortunately. And so I feel like it would be weird if on the day of like the Man City game I'm uploading or I post the video that I made about like the Tottenham game, where I pretty much blew up on the team, or the Wolves game where I blew up on the team, and then I'm uploading that on the day that we beat Man City 2-0. People would be like, "Did you see the game today? What, you stupid?" So basically, what's been happening is I upload these videos, and they're still private on my channel, and so as soon as I finally catch up, which hopefully I'll have a chance to today or tomorrow, hopefully at that point I'll have a chance to write out all of the stuff, describe all the videos, put the title of the videos, description, all of that, and then I can finally make them all public at the same time. So that way they're all available. So if you're wondering why that's happening like that, that's why. It's because I just don't have time right now. Hopefully, though, when it comes to next year, I will have a bit more time, I believe. It's been crazy busy right now. I work two jobs, and one of the jobs, this is the busiest time of year. So I haven't had time to do much of anything as far as watching TV shows or when I do these reviews, I have hardly had time to even upload them sometimes. So with all that being said, though, let's talk about the Bournemouth game because it's another win, and ultimately it puts us through to the semifinals of the Carabao Cup. But once again, it's pretty frustrating sometimes to watch, and mainly because teams have figured out how to play against us. And we've seen that in some of the games. You watch the Wolves game, clear example of teams know how to play against us now. At least if they're not the top teams. Sometimes the top teams, like we saw against Man City, they think they can take it to us, and I think it's kind of weird that way because it happened against Liverpool, it happens against Man City, not really against Man U because Man U kind of took it to us after they packed it in, they counterattacked, and they did their normal thing, and we didn't have an answer for that, and then we got lucky at the end. But when it comes to the lower teams, when it comes to teams like Bournemouth or like Wolves or like Huddersfield or like what was another team we faced recently Brighton was another one that kind of packed it in against us. They know now that's what they need to do. You pack numbers behind the ball, don't give us space to pass like we want to, and then you counterattack against us quickly, and we're susceptible to the counter all the time. Even though Rudiger is very good, even though Spilicueta is very good, if you attack down our left side, whether it's Alonso or Emerson, whether it's David Luiz or Christensen, we have a susceptibility in defense to get beat on that counter. And so it kind of feels like that's what a lot of these games have turned into. It's turned into frustrating to watch because we're trying to break down a defense where there are 10 men in the box, and then they just win the ball back, and then it's boom, boom, boom. Defensively, we're not very solid because we're not set up the best way that we could be defensively, and I blame that all on Sarri still. And then they just take it to us, and then they create good chances. And sometimes it's a great chance, and sometimes it's a decent chance, but with a keeper like Kepa in goal, you never know. Because sometimes you just stand still and watch the ball roll right in. So I'm still pretty frustrated watching. As far as Sarri is concerned in this one, some good stuff, some bad stuff. I'm glad he decided to start Giroud. I'll talk about Giroud later because, yeah. And I'm even happy with most of the subs. I think the first one, Pedro coming on for Willian, is a good decision because, frankly, Willian was not at it today, and Pedro is a good option to bring off the bench. So I'm happy with that, but then for some reason he moves Loftus-Cheek over to the left, and one of the things that was just honestly kind of helping us dominate the game today, or yesterday, whenever, is the fact that Loftus-Cheek was taking it down the right, and he just had so much space over there because he was one-on-one with the defender, and that was it. on their right side, they were kind of doubling up a little bit because Willian was over there and Emerson were over there. And so it was like Loftus-Cheek didn't have as much space to run as he did on the left side, or their left side. So I'm like, why did we move him over there when he was so much more effective on the right side? And on top of that, Azpilicueta is not a defender that's going to get up a ton. You know, he will get up and help out every now and then, but if you look at who's going to be more attack-minded, it's going to be Emerson. He is more attack-minded than Azpilicueta is. And so you put Pedro on Azpilicueta's side, and Pedro likes to cut in. He's not really a winger. He is more of an inside forward, to be honest. So now we've got, on the right side, we've got a fullback that's not really going to provide a ton of width. You know, he'll get up every now and then, but for majority, he's not going to get up and help you. And then we've got a winger who's going to cut more inside. So now we have absolutely no width on our right side. And it showed. I mean, after that sub, while Pedro did bring a lot to the field, we really lacked on the attack after he came on because of that switch, because we moved Loftus-Cheek off of the better side. And then on top of that, then he makes the switch where he brings on Hazard, moves Loftus-Cheek back into the midfield. And while obviously Hazard and Pedro are both good players, and it did provide that little bit of a finishing edge that we needed, we were not able to keep the ball up there as much because now we have two inside forwards up there with Giroud, and they were just packing it in the middle. We had no more width, and that's why for a majority of that second half after those subs, it was really Bournemouth had more possession of the ball and they created more chances, and that's why, because we kept giving up possession in the middle of the field because that's where our players were. So I don't really agree with those tactics. While it ended up working out because Hazard obviously did come on, Pedro's did well to set up the goal, and Hazard came on and obviously scored. Well, that part worked out. It was definitely harder for me to watch as a fan because it was a majority of Bournemouth taking it to us because we didn't have the options wide and we kept losing it. So that was frustrating. Obviously, you know, the final sub, David Luiz on for Christensen, more of a forced change, if anything. But I just don't understand that decision. You know, we have some wing players. We have players that are going to stay wide. So we need them to stay out there and provide us that width. And it's like he just took he took Willian off, and while Willian wasn't playing well, he's a wide player. He took Loftus-Cheek out of that wing position, first moved him to a side where we already had Emerson providing more width, and then you bring him back in the midfield, and now we have no width whatsoever. Emerson obviously is still providing width, but we don't have as much. We've lost the right side entirely. Now we're down to only one person out wide on the left side. It just felt like a strange change of tactics today. So just something to look at going forward, but I was a little disappointed there. As far as individuals are concerned, Kepa made a couple good saves today. Nothing that he shouldn't be saving, though. So, you know, it just, once again, another game where he did the job well enough. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of what I was thinking about Courtois last year. There were moments where Courtois would have games. He would do what he was supposed to do. He'd make the saves he was supposed to. But then when it came to kind of more spectacular saves or saves that some keepers make that others just can't, I never really saw Courtois make those saves. And it kind of feels the same way with Kepa. You know, he'll make the saves he's supposed to. He'll catch it. He'll hold on to it fairly well. You know, if there's a save down to his left or right, he can make those saves. But when it comes to the spectacular saves, he doesn't make those. And that's kind of what the price tag should justify. Now, one thing he did well that I definitely will give him credit for is the fact that he was out a lot quicker. He was definitely a lot more, I guess, proactive coming out of his box and winning some of the over-the-top balls. So I'll give him that. You know, he did well there. But I just, once again, still don't think he's justifying the price that we paid for him. As far as the defense is concerned, once again, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, the two solid, just consistents back there. As far as Christensen and Emerson, had their moments, you know, had some good moments, had some bad moments. So kind of similar to David Luiz and Marcos Alonso, to be honest. And yeah, we need something different. We need something else back there because, frankly, we just have such a wide open left side that any team can just pretty much take it to us if they just come down our left side. For Emerson, it kind of makes sense because he is more of an attacking player. Same with Zappacosta. He is definitely more of an attack-minded player and a Marcus Alonso. So we have like three other fullbacks that are more attack-minded. But once again, my thought turns to why not put an attack-minded player on Rudiger's side, so we have one solid defender on that side, and then put Aspilicueta on either David Luiz or Christensen's side, so we have a solid defender there. But, it's just, I guess, my ramblings, because obviously the fact that we're conceding so many good, easy chances clearly means that Sarri's doing something right? As far as Christensen is concerned, though, I did want to touch on that just because he is a player that I think was very highly rated last year and even the year before. And a lot of people, the comparisons were made to John Terry. It kind of hit me in this game why he's not been good this season. First of all, he's not been good enough to take David Luiz out of his position, and he's hardly been good enough whenever we do put him on the field to justify why he is out there. The biggest thing, I think, is he is more of a sweeper or a stopper, I guess. Honestly, I thought sweeper was his best position. When you put him at the center of that back three and he's dropped deeper, he can read the play a bit more, and he's very good at that. But whenever he's one of two and he's got to step up a little bit and he's also got to drop back, he's got to do both, he's not very good at making those decisions. And it showed in this game because there was a lot of speed up top for Bournemouth, and there were times where he got burnt on that speed because he's stepping into a position he has no business stepping into. And then they beat him, and now he's out of position. So I really do think he needs to learn how to play in a back two because he's a very good defender. He's very solid. He's very smart on the ball. But I don't think he's comfortable in a back two, so he's got to learn to do that. He's got to learn to be a part of a back two, or else he's not going to really fit in any team right now. Because most teams are going back to a back four instead of the back three. So, but as far as the midfield is concerned, you got Fabregas in the center with Barkley and Kovacic on either side of him. Fabregas still just kind of hit or miss with him. He has his great moments on the ball. Sometimes the passes that he picks out are fantastic. And honestly, kind of at times I think he should be on the field over Jorginho. But once again, where does he lack? Where does Jorginho lack? Defensively. And it's still going to be a problem, as I'm going to say it all year long, because I know Sarri's not going to change it. I know Sarri's going to stick to this, we need a distributor there. As long as he sticks with that, we're going to be weak defensively because they're going to have time and space in front of our defense, because whoever is sitting there, whether it's Jorginho, whether it's Fabregas, whoever is there is not going to be as good as Conte is defensively. They're not going to cut off the passes. They're not going to close down shots. They're not going to put pressure on people. So they're going to have time top of the box. I mean, the best example I can think of, what's his name, Brooks, picks it up inside the box. Fabregas goes to step over, and literally the commentator was like, "Oh, what a fantastic turn by." Literally, all he did was just drop his shoulder and turn, and Fabregas can't stop running because he's old. It's just, oh no, there he goes. And I'm just like, that's why Conte should be there, because Conte would not let him turn that easily. And even if he did turn him somehow, even if he managed to fake him out with the drop shoulder, guess what? Conte's turned back on him instantly. But Fabregas can't stop because he can't turn that quickly. Even Jorginho would not be able to turn that quickly. So it's still a problem, and it's going to be a problem all season long, and it's going to be something that people are going to be talking about. Why is he putting Conte there? Why is he not doing this? It's because he's stubborn, and yeah. Anyways, as far as Kovacic and Barkley are concerned, though, both of them played well enough. Kovacic obviously still showing why we need to go get him. Barkley showing the moments of flair and attacking ability, and also good, strong challenges defensively, too. So both of them very solid, have their ups and downs. For Kovacic, his downs come more from, I think whenever he gets frustrated, he starts trying to do a little too much, and he can dribble himself into pressure. With Barkley, it's just he's a little naive sometimes either when he's on the ball or when he's off of it. Some of the challenges he goes into are not good, and sometimes when he's on the ball, it's like he can't find the right pass. With either of them, you're going to have something they're going to bring to the field and something that we're going to lack with them there. So, once again, they're both kind of fighting for that same position. As far as the front three are concerned, Willian and Giroud obviously did not have good games. Willian, it's the same problem that he's had all season long, that when he gets to that final third, it's just not good enough. He looks very good on the ball. He's quick. He's fast. He works hard to win it back. Sometimes his passes are brilliant. But man, when he gets in front of the goal, when he gets inside the 18, when he gets right outside the 18, it's like his decision making is awful. He had one-on-one chances with Boric, and all he has to do really is just sort of take it around him or keep it low, and wrong decision every time. It's a little frustrating because I know he has the quality to finish, and maybe he is lacking a little confidence, but I just think he's a better player than that, and he's not showing it this season. He's really wasted several clear-cut opportunities, and even the one in particular. I mean, obviously it's the biggest miss of the entire game. He's through on goal, great ball from Loftus-Cheek. All he's got to do is just place it around Boric, and he tries to chip him. Boric does well, makes the save, but the thing is, it still falls to Willian inside of the 6. Now, it's a tight angle for sure, but instead of taking his time and just kind of slotting it towards the goal, and even if the defender makes a block, either it's going to deflect off of him in, or it's not going to be a good clearance and somebody else can probably get on it. But what does he do? He lashes at it, and it just whips way out, away from the goal. It's bending away from it. It's decisions like that that make me think he's not good enough right now. And especially Pedro coming off the bench and doing what he did. Pedro shows a lot more right now than Willian is. So it's disappointing, and I think Willian's had a great career at Chelsea, but I think he's kind of fading away. And especially under this new system, it's definitely not a system that benefits Willian. So Giroud, though, really disappointing from him because he has been so solid this season. He's done well to help the team, but his touch was awful. His passing was awful. Even the moments when he did something well, it's like the decision after, the run he made or something. It felt like everything was going wrong for him. And then there is even a moment where he gets challenged by one of the defenders and he just goes over easily. And I'm just sitting there thinking, am I going to pull off the Giroud mask and that's Morata under there? Because honestly, it felt like a Morata type of game from Giroud. And say what you will, Morata's been awful this season. And it felt like Giroud had a game like Morata's been having all season long. So, yeah, really disappointed with that, especially because he hasn't featured much recently. And this is kind of a chance for him to show why Sarri should trust him, and he didn't really do that. So, Loftus-Cheek, though, showed why he deserves to play more. Honestly, if we are going to go with a kind of a false 9 with Hazard up top, it should really be Hazard, Pedro, and Loftus-Cheek right now because, man, Loftus-Cheek was just absolutely tearing it up today. And honestly, I mean, you think about what the formation could look like. If you go with that back four of Alonso, David Luiz, Rudiger, and Azpilicueta, we know Alonso's going to get up on the left side, which means you put Pedro on the left side so he can cut in. You put Loftus-Cheek on the right side because he can provide the width over there. So now Loftus-Cheek and Marcos Alonso are kind of providing the width. You've got Hazard up top as a false 9. You've got Pedro cutting in. You've got Kovacic getting up and helping in the attack. I prefer to see Barkley up there too, but of course he's going to have Conte up there. I mean, that's a solid front three though of Pedro, Loftus-Cheek, and Hazard. So maybe that's something he'll look at because Pedro came on, had a good game. Loftus-Cheek had a good game. Willian didn't. Maybe he will look at that going forward. But yeah, Loftus-Cheek, I think, is so much better as a part of that front three. When you have him a bit wider, when you let him have the space to run at people, he's a very dangerous player. And so I think when you put him in the midfield where there's a lot of pressure on him, it's more difficult for him to get into a stride and really affect the game. So I'm hoping Sarri can see that and sees that he is better when he's up front with those three. But anyways, as far as the subs are concerned, I already talked about Pedro a little bit. Hazard, kind of the typical Hazard performance. It took him about 10-15 minutes before he started to provide a bit more in the attack. But once he got going, of course, it's hard to stop him. And then David Luiz just sort of came on and finished out the game. Didn't do anything spectacular or crazy. So overall, it's a win. We are in the semifinals. We're going up against Tottenham, which is going to be difficult. But the main thing is we've just got to find... First of all, we've got to find the players that fit best in certain positions. And of course, we already know some of that. We know that Conte is better at the defensive mid position, but that's not going to happen. So going into January, of course, we've got to look to see what can we bring in, what do we need to bring in. I know there's a little bit of talk, so I heard they were talking about during the game that Callum Wilson was a player we're looking at. I don't know if we need another striker right now, just because I don't think Sarri's system suits a striker, like a true striker. Because you look at Giroud and Morata, they don't really get goals. Giroud will get assists sometimes because he's a very effective player, but it really doesn't feel like a system where a striker is going to benefit from it. Now, I do think if we decided to go long a bit more, if it's a game where we're kind of pinned in, Murata would work in those games because he is more of a counterattack type of striker. You know, you put him in behind and he'll run onto it. Giroud is a great striker for if a team is packing it in, you need to dump balls in. He's going to win the ball from time to time and cause problems in there. So I do feel like there are games where they are needed, but you look at how Hazard has played in that false nine position as a part of a front three. And even like you look at a team like Liverpool that kind of has a similar type of feel to it. You know, you've got Mane, Salah, and Firmino, and even Shaqiri sometimes. The three of them, I mean, Firmino is kind of a striker, but he's not a true striker. He's not a striker like Kane or Giroud or Morata or Lukaku. He's not one of those strikers. He's more like kind of a Gabriel Jesus or a Hazard. You know, he's going to drop in a bit more. He's a bit clever with his feet. So I do think there is something to be said about a front three like that, where you've got players that are going to interchange a bit more rather than have a target man with two flanking him. And it seems to fit Sarri's system a little bit better. So I don't know if we need to go get a striker. I saw a report today that we're going to try to get Isco to be kind of that in behind with Hazard. Frankly, I mean, I don't have a problem with Isco, but I think because Loftus-Cheek has shown he can play as a part of that front three, I don't know if we need to go spend all of that money on a player like Isco. Frankly, if you're asking me what do we need to get, first of all, we need to get a left back. Alonso hasn't been cutting it. Emerson hasn't been cutting it. And for some reason, he's hesitant to move Azpilicueta over there and Zappacosta on the right side. So we need to go get a better fullback because we just haven't looked good on our left side at all. And I would say we do need to look at trying to kind of move some of the midfield out. You know, I don't think Fabregas has been good enough. Jorginho, we need to get a better option than him. Frankly, I don't know why he's not putting Conte there, but that's something else to look at, you know. But I don't know. In my opinion, the main thing right now is we need a fullback. We need somebody who's going to do the job better than Alonso's been doing, than Emerson's been doing, and even Zappacosta's been doing, because we haven't had a good fullback back there. And it's really been our weak point this entire season, obviously aside from the striker position. But, yeah, with all that being said, looking to January, we'll see what happens. I did read something where the Napoli president was saying, Sarri doesn't like to make transfer decisions. He's very anxious about it. Frankly, he came to the right club because from what I understand, it's more like we have a transfer team that does majority of the business. You know, the manager makes suggestions, and they're just like, we'll take that on board, and then they end up going and getting whoever they think is good. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, that's it for this game. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.